Your video sucks. Back to it. I'm gonna... You're not the game analyst, you're the game hater. Fine. I guess the time has come for things I like. It's when I look at a game that I like and discuss 5 things I like about it, and it's obviously God of War Ragnarok. Which, honestly, wasn't that hard. As mentioned in the Things I Hate video, which seems to have angered a lot of people, this game is quite good, and in most ways an improvement. It's by no means perfect, like IGN claims, but finding things I like about it was a lot easier than finding things I hate. Well, not that much easier, but you get the idea. Again, I will not be discussing the storyline itself, as that's being saved for a future video, cause let's face it, it's kinda what it needs. That being said, let's find out what this game added, or at least improved on, and hopefully appease the fanboys. This is God of War Ragnarok, and 5 things I like.
Well, if you're planning on killing me, at least let me finish this song. That alarm was in just the perfect key. We're just looking...
The characters. This one's by no means a surprise, but I can't help but mention it due to how well it's been done. Every character in this game, whether they be good, bad, or down the middle, succeed in not only being entertaining, but also very likable given that's the idea. Angrboda could have easily been obnoxious, and instead remained interesting and likable. Freyr, despite not being that relevant, is given just enough time to bring out his comedic personality, and the trio of antagonists are all quite good in their own right. Thor's combination of anger and comedy led to some of the game's best moments. Odin is the example of how to do a likable, deceptive antagonist, easily the game's best new character. And Heimdall is the asshole. That's kind of it. I don't see why the game has to have one of those, but at least it's not overdone. The old characters are developed too, most notably Atreus, mainly due to him not being an annoying kid. And pretty much everything that made them so likable in the first game is kept intact. Mimir, Brock, and Sindri are still comic relief gold, and Freya is given a personality beyond what the first game thought was relatable. That being said, I do want to clarify that I'm only talking about personality. The actions and various arcs they're given will be a discussion for a later video. Unfortunately, Kratos is still not that interesting to me, nor is he the same guy, get over it. But still, this is one of the things that keeps the narrative going despite it being slightly too long and a bit cutscene heavy. In the end, it's something I like.
Everything that's happened between us.
No need to explain. Not to me.
Environments. The game is pretty. What can I say? If somebody was to ask me, do you like anything better about the new games? Well, yeah, we just mentioned the characters, but also the environments. A case can be made for both, but I really think Ragnarok nailed it. The 2018 game was great too, and those areas are revised here with various changes, but I think it's safe to say that Ragnarok beats out the other games in terms of variety. The dark forest of Valheim, the stunning view of Asgard, and one of my favorites, Svartalfheim, are all great to look at and give a feel of just how big the game is. As far as details are concerned, I don't think it's a surprise that this game has that down. Not that that's anything new, insane attention to detail is kind of the common thing now, but still, it's nice to see. It's a good thing too, because considering all the side missions and various stuff you have to do to get full completion, it's nice to have different things to look at. It'd be a pretty daunting task for a game of this size, but it might make it a bit more enjoyable. I can't say the game did everything right when it comes to not being repetitive, but it definitely did this right. It's still something I expected, but also something I like.
Food.
No. No, what I need most now, I think, is to reflect on what you've told me. I need space, if you would grant me that.
Very well.
The spear. Well, we included a weapon last time, so why not again? The Draupnir spear is not only cool as shit, but also has a reason to exist. unlike the axe, that doesn't. You don't get it for some time into the game, which is fine because you still have the blades, and its purpose narrative-wise is that it's the only weapon that can kill Heimdall, which is good because he's a dick. Not only does it make the spear irrelevant, but its unique mechanics tie into the boss fight, mainly the infinite throwing spears that self-destruct. That's an interesting idea for a boss that moves like Keanu Reeves from The Matrix. Aside from that, the spear also specializes in quickly building up stun, something that's quite handy if used correctly. And did I mention it's fun as hell to use, not to mention the badass design. For being relevant to the story and innovative gameplay, I think it's safe to say that the Draupnir spear is a spear that I like. The axe has nothing on this.
I've been waiting for this. You're not from here. We got a tradition called blood payments. It means
The bosses. In the previous video, I complained about the combat being repetitive at times, and apparently that upset a lot of people. I stand by that, even though the variety is a lot better, but the bosses are definitely an improvement. In the last game, I took major issue with these. A lot of them weren't that fun, and the dragon was just boring.
Shocking.
Luckily, they did two things to fix this. One, give us more of them, as the last game was lacking, and most importantly, make them fun to fight. Some of them are just okay, but others take advantage of the game's new mechanics, leading to some unique encounters, like the aforementioned Heimdall boss. Grilla is a fun fight that utilizes Atreus' bow. Nihagr is resistant to range attacks, encouraging blocking and melee. Garm is an epic encounter with multiple stages and a satisfying learning curve. And Odin is possibly my favorite. In my opinion, they saved the best for last. That's an opinion that could change, but as of right now, it's a final boss I honestly didn't want to see end. Being someone who criticized the game's length, that's saying something. I don't even know why I like it, it's just fun as shit. I don't think it's the hardest, as some seem to, but it's definitely the most fun. In actuality, Thor is more difficult, and apparently the common favorite. Not my favorite, but still quite good. As for the common criticism of sub-bosses being repetitive, I still don't see it. Primarily because I see them as big enemies, not bosses, and if they're fun to fight, then who cares? And like the real bosses, they're again highly improved on. I don't know how many people complained about the last game, but in this case, I think somebody listened.
I will be your general.
It will be an honor to fight alongside you, General.
Aye, brother.
The brutality. And the most important thing of all, the element that was greatly lacking in the last game, the kills.
Positively shocking.
Okay, it's not the most important thing, and yeah, the first game did have that, but it felt kind of limited. Like he'd only do it when it was actually necessary. Ugh. It makes sense, considering the personality change, but it's still a God of War game, and that means enemies have to die in extremely violent fashion. Luckily, that becomes apparent pretty early on. Unfortunately, none of the main bosses meet the same fate, except maybe Heimdall, but he was really asking for it. And at times, it does feel like a bit of an overkill. Honestly, I'm surprised nobody complained about it ruining the experience. One thing they could have done wrong is give the enemies the same death animations, which is a bad idea all around and should stop. And it would have been nice if you could choose which finisher takes place. Then again, you can't really compare to those games anyway, as ripping off somebody's arm and using it to impale them is probably not happening in any future games. But hopefully, they'll come up with something close to as good. Or you might just not care about this at all, and that's fine. But to me, it's something no God of War game is complete without, and the fact that they've realized this is definitely something I like. So, there it is. 5 things I like about God of War Ragnarok. Hopefully, this pleases the fanboys who can't stand any criticism toward this game, but if not, let me know in the comments, and I'll get back to you. I'm the Game Analyst, and don't forget, personality is key to making a good character, but so is making logical decisions, so it is what it is. What? You're actually here? That's fucking amazing. I guess you may as well check out the main channel, in which I discuss movies, TV series, and the offensive topics that lie within. If that interests you, then press the link in the description. It's right there.